Assalamu alaikum and hello to my non-Muslim viewers. It's been a while since I made a YouTube video talking about Islam, Christianity, religion, apologetics, religious apologetics, etc., etc. It's been a while since I made a YouTube video about Christianity or Islam. I've just it's been actually 4 years since I made a video. I'm sorry. I just been busy with some personal stuff with school and work. So I've been really busy. These last from 2012 to 2016, I've been busy. Mainly with school. But this is the summer, and I'm off for a few weeks. So I'm off of school and work for a few weeks. So I'm gonna make some videos about various topics and subjects. But anyways, today's video is going to be about David Wood's death threats. I saw a video of him saying that he's been threatened to death because he's making videos critical of Islam and critical of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and critical of Islam and Muslims and stuff like that. So what David Wood does these days is, he just makes, either he does debates, or if he's not doing that, he's just making YouTube videos making fun of Islam and being critical of Prophet Muhammad and peace be upon him, and the Quran and Islam and stuff like that. In his video, he was talking about Muslims threatening him to death and threatening his family and his kids and his wife, threatening to kill his family for making YouTube videos critical of Islam. And he was kind of like over exaggerating the situation. Well, there's two reasons why I don't believe him. There's two reasons why I find these death threats kind of suspicious. The first reason is if David Wood is really getting death threats, if he's really fearful of his life and his family's well-being, he should go to the police. He should go to the New York Police Department or the Bronx Police Department, and he should, tell them about this. He should show them that, I'm being threatened here. My family's being threatened here. Why isn't he doing that? Why isn't he going to the police? Why is he making a YouTube video over exaggerating the situation? Does he want the attention for himself? Is he trying to over exaggerate the situation? Is he just, trying to make Muslims look bad? What is he trying to do? Why isn't he going to the police? That's the first reason why I'm suspicious of the whole thing. The second reason is David Wood has something called antisocial personality disorder. What that means is that the people who are suffering from that disorder tend to lie, or they tend to over exaggerate things. And David Wood has lied about a lot of stuff. He's done it for a lot of years. The most famous of his over exaggerating, or him purposely causing disruption and disorder, is the Arab Fest 2009 and 2010. In 2009, it was bad. What he was doing was he was trying to make it look like the Muslims were in power and they don't allow people questioning Islam and stuff like that. And he purposely provoked the security and stuff like that. And his whole videos on YouTube. And in 2010, he took it even further. In 2009, he wanted to over exaggerate, or he wanted to make the Arab Fest security look bad and Dearborn look bad. But in 2010, he took it to the extreme. When he got arrested, and Nabil Qureshi got arrested, and the two other people in his group, I think it's Najeen and Paul. I can't remember their last names, but all four of these people got arrested. David Wood's group, got arrested in 2010, and because of that, they made a big deal and stuff like that. They were found not guilty, but I think the police or the security was right in arresting them, and the reason why they were arrested was breach of peace. They were disrupting the peace. So they were arrested, they were thrown in jail, and there's that whole like story. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about his YouTube video about death threats. He tends to David Wood kind of like causes a lot of problems, and he purposely does this. He does this to invoke negative emotions in Muslims. He does this just to, draw attention to himself. He just likes the attention. He just likes controversy. He'll do all of these kinds of, crazy things just to get attention for himself. I've known him. I've debated him. It's called Ehteshaam Gulam versus David Wood on the crucifixion. So I know David Wood. I even allowed him to moderate the debate between me and Mary Jo Sharp, even though he wasn't really doing anything there. But anyways, I know David Wood. I know that he lies a lot and he makes up stuff. And even when Muslims tell him, his arguments have been refuted, he just keeps using those arguments. No matter how many times Muslims tell him the satanic verses story of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is false, he'll keep using it. He'll use it over and over and over again. Even when Muslims say, no, it's false, he'll be like, nope. And he'll keep using that story. So, anyways, he always lies. He always exaggerates. How do we know David Wood's not making those death threats himself? How do we know he's not going on YouTube and making multiple accounts and threatening himself and then making it look like Muslims are threatening him? That's possible. All David Wood does these days is be critical. Criticize Islam by YouTube videos, his blog, etc., in his debates, etc. I know he debates atheists too, but he doesn't do it that much. Mostly his ministry or his organization is being critical of Islam. His specialty or whatever is mainly on Islam. It's not really on atheism. But anyways. David Wood is just over-exaggerating. He's probably not getting any death threats. He's probably just, over-exaggerating the thing. Or it's probably even if he is getting death threats, but it's probably by Muslim kids, online, just making, like, empty death threats. They're just, like, the word is keyboard warriors. I think that's the word where they're just behind, a computer screen making, empty death threats and threatening his family and stuff like that. Or it's probably some angry Muslims who are watching this video and they don't like Islam being criticized, and they're just, they're just making death threats, but they don't really mean it. Like no one's gonna harm him or his family. You see, I don't think anybody cares that much about him to cause serious physical harm to him and his family. I think there's just internet death threats. It doesn't really mean anything. And another thing that makes me, that makes me believe David Wood's lying about the whole thing is David Wood does debates with Muslims and he's critical of Islam. He criticizes Islam, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the Quran, and sometimes very vile and hateful ways. I'm not going to repeat what he says against the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, but he says some pretty nasty things about him. And he always walks away. He's always fine. No Muslim goes after him. No Muslim cares enough to like physically harm him and stuff. So every time he does a debate where he's critical of Islam and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and stuff like that, he walks away. He's fine. No Muslim goes after him and stuff like that. So I think the problem with people like David Wood and to a lesser extent James White is they just over-exaggerate things. They just make things up. Just like I don't believe James White has a real doctorate. I don't believe that he has a real PhD. He just, I don't believe that David Wood is getting legit death threats serious death threats where his life and his family's life is in danger, even if he's getting that, even if he's not making it up, if he's not registering YouTube videos and making, death threats against his own family and stuff like that, and pretending Muslims are doing it, even if these threats are really online and stuff like that, it's probably empty death threats. It probably doesn't mean anything. It's probably Muslim kids behind a keyboard, saying they're going to kill his wife and stuff like that, or it's probably some angry Muslim saying, you know, they're annoyed by David Wood's behavior and, you know, his constant hate mongering against Islam, and they're just, you know, they're just saying it. They're just saying it out of anger, but in reality, they don't